You're listening to the LiveUltra podcast, a show dedicated to exploring the minds of the individuals who take on the world's most extreme challenges. Now, here's your host, Jack Middleton.
Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the LiveUltra podcast. To give context, today's episode I sit down with a good friend of mine, Eoin Dobbin, to discuss a challenge that I'm taking on in September of this year, the Marathon Des Sables 2020. Now, more importantly, why I decided to make this the first episode of the podcast is because I think it gives a really good insight as to my journey into ultra endurance and my story so far. So there's lots in there today. If you enjoyed the episode, I'd really appreciate it if you can share with a friend and rate on iTunes. Thanks and enjoy this week's episode.
Hello and welcome back to the Dobcast. I'm here in Santry in the beautiful County Dublin, beautiful city of Dublin, the Big Smoke, and today I'm with Jack Middleton. Jack's an ultra endurance athlete from Wexford and he's currently in training for Marathon Des Sables, or otherwise known as MDS. So Jack, very welcome. Lovely to have you. You might give us a little bit of an intro into MDS, what it entails, and a bit of your background.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks very much for having me on. This is my first podcast appearance, so delighted to be on. And yeah, for sure. So Marathon Des Sables, for anybody who doesn't know, is a 250 kilometer ultra marathon across the Sahara Desert. Now it's a multi-stage event, which means that it's broken down into different chunks across 6 days. And basically the plan is to run 6 back-to-back marathons across the Sahara Desert, all my food on my back, gonna be in a tent with probably around 7 to 8 other people. So I mean, I'll probably try and run it on my own just from my own experience, but yeah, there's other people doing it and it's going to be pretty intense, to say the least.
Insane, man. And it's Morocco, right? Does it start and end in Morocco, or it's...
Yeah, for sure. So we actually fly into Morocco. I'm just waiting for the flights to be confirmed, but yeah, fly into Morocco and fly out of Morocco. I think I'm actually flying from Dublin to London first of all, and that's where I'll meet the other competitors. But it's it's based in Morocco, so
savage, man.
Up to 40-degree heat as well, which is the one thing that as an Irishman
you're not used to.
I'm not used to be honest.
Absolutely not. Well, yeah, from what I've seen of it, it's a pretty insane looking event. Like some of the challenges, obviously the fact that you're running 250k anywhere is tough enough.
Sure.
But doing it in the blistering heat of a desert with all the other things that come that way, and I mean, you're entirely self-sufficient, right? You've got everything that you need for the 6 days on your back.
Pretty much, yeah. So like, from chatting to a few people, and obviously I've got a coach on board because this is my first ultra marathon, and the biggest thing that he's been saying to me is this is a race of self-management. So yeah, it's an ultra marathon, but more than that, it's about how light you turn up in terms of how much food you pack in your bag, what meals you prep, how you manage your feet is going to be a big thing, how you just take care of yourself. It's a race of self-management. So a big part of my prep is going to be turning up as light as possible, because the less food and gear that I have to carry across the desert, the better.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So save the legs.
Yeah, brilliant. And how is it divided up? I know that one day there's a double marathon on the second last day. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, that's the plan. So I haven't confirmed the distances yet, day to day. I think roughly it's about 30k on the first day, 40 on the second, 40 on the third, and then on the fourth day you run an ultra marathon. So that's the long day. And everybody says that the race begins on the long day for a number of reasons, but the main reason is it's 80 kilometers, and yeah, that's a big jump. So
huge.
Day 4 is the ultra marathon, yeah, and then after that it's one more marathon, and then you're done.
And then you're done, just like that.
And then you're done.
Yeah, well, I mean, aside from obviously the heat and the conditions, because I know I was listening to Brian Keane's podcast on doing MDS, and he was calling it the Sahara Shuffle because of the sand that you're running in. That you can't even. It's not like running around a track or running down a road. That you're nearly shuffling, and obviously, sunburn is a major issue. Dehydration. I mean, I don't know if you want to go into the details of some of the risks you face doing it. People might not realise that it's not just the distance, it's actual the health risks involved also. Like you say, if you don't have the management dialed in.
For sure, I mean, like, one of the big things is going to be the heat, like I said, and water is actually rationed. Now, from chatting to people, like, they say that they never felt like they ran out of water. So, like, you're gonna get a chance to refill your water every, say, 10 or 20k, but it's up to you then to ration that water. So, like, if you're a few k into 10k, don't down all the water, basically.
Yeah,
just in case you get into trouble. So that's one part. Snakes and spiders and scorpions is another thing I've been told about. So I need a venom pump is part of the mandatory kit.
Yeah, tell me more about this venom pump, because I've heard that if you get bitten by something potentially fatal, you have to pump the venom out of your system. How does that even work?
I haven't looked too much into it, to be honest, just because it's not something, touch wood, I plan to deal with, to be honest.
Fingers crossed for you, man.
Fingers crossed, but yeah, like, looking at all the things that could kill me out there, I just want to make sure I'm not killing myself. John, it goes back to self-management. As long as I can control myself and, you know, my training and all these things leading up to it, I can't control if a snake jumps out.
Yeah,
So I'm not going to worry about that.
Yeah, you got to control what you can.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know sandstorms is another thing that springs to mind that's obviously on the list of uncontrollables.
Sure.
That shit happens.
Hits the fan.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, man. Well, it sounds insanely difficult, but also like a real test of character to get it done. And the sunburn, every year people drop out because of severe sunburn. So are you planning to cover up, or are you how are you going to go about, I suppose, protecting yourself? Because with the heat, you obviously don't want to be so wrapped up that you're sweating either.
No. That's a good question. So I'm going to be getting it's like a cap with almost like an extension on the back and the sides. So that really helps to cover your face and your neck, and, you know, probably the most prone places to getting heat stroke. Like, chances are, if you get a bit of sunburn on the back of your legs, you know, that's probably not going to help the situation, but it's really protecting the head.
Yeah,
you start overheating the mind and the brain.
The sensitive parts, absolutely.
It's the mind that's going to carry me through this thing. So, to be honest, I'm just going to focus on protecting the head more than anything, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. If the mindset goes, I can't imagine it would be a good place to be. And the road to taking on a challenge like this, I mean, obviously you didn't. Well, I wouldn't expect you just jumped out of bed one morning and said, right, that's it, 250k across the Sahara Desert, let's do it.
No,
What got you into endurance sports in the first place, and what other, I suppose, build-up events have you done?
For sure, man. So this whole journey that I'm on now, it really began in 2017, so about 3 years ago now. What actually happened was, I was going into my last year of university down in NUIG in Galway, and I just ended up becoming good friends with this lad who was into all these things, and then, you know, got to know his mates, and then before I knew it, I had a pretty close group of friends that were into doing these kind of mad endurance events, and at the time they weren't crazy, but they were crazy to me. So that all started with a sprint distance triathlon. So at the time, my mate was like, right, I think we were 2 months out. I was like, right, we're gonna go do a triathlon in 2 months. I was like, no chance. Like, like a triathlon at the time to me was like what MDS is to me now. You know, it scared me. I didn't think I could do it. It just seemed like quite a big mountain to climb, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
And yeah, sure enough, we just signed up and figured it out along the way. Like, he had that background, so he helped to build a little bit of confidence in me that, you know, I could actually do this if I believed I could. And yeah, we just went out, started doing some long swims down in Salt Hill as a group. And yeah, before I knew it, it was D-Day.
Savage. And that was that in Ireland, I take it?
Down in Athlone, yeah. So it was only a sprint distance. And I can just remember going out and experiencing it, you know, being out in nature, the buzz of like people cheering you on, and like just the whole like natural high. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
completely
definitely.
new thing to me, and just the whole mental side of like pushing yourself and just doing something that at the time kind of scared me, to be honest.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, doing something that not everyone is doing, and that it definitely takes a little bit of heart to get through something like that,
It does,
especially
man.
your first time.
No, for sure, and like that's what it was. So I got to the finish line, like really surprised myself. But that was really the first time that I really genuinely questioned all my beliefs.
On
Like,
what you could and couldn't do.
everything, man. Like, it was something.
Back to scratch.
Yeah, man. Like literally, like it seems so small now considering what it snowballed into. But at the time, like I said, it was the same size as what MDS is to me now, and yeah, I see all these challenges as like being reborn, because pretty much from that point onwards, it just snowballed. So like the next event to kind of turn up then was a white collar boxing match. Don't know if you're familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it was the same mate again. He was actually coaching the event, and
He's a good guy to get friends with.
yeah, man, like he opened up so many doors for me, like so many doors in my mind, and like just the whole idea of pushing yourself. And boxing to me was a big step up. Like triathlon, fair enough, you know, somebody's not in the ring trying to kill you.
Aye, the triathlon doesn't hit back.
The triathlon doesn't hit back in quite the same way, but yeah, that was the next step. So like October came around, it was an 8-week process, and yeah, all for charity. Pretty much all novice boxers, everybody on the same level. And this one was a different one, man, because it was a very humbling experience. Like between the sparring sessions, getting knocked down a few times. I remember getting winded in one of the sessions. It's quite humiliating.
Yeah, a punch to the ego as much as to the body.
For sure. And like the fact that it was all building up to a live event where we were expecting a few hundred people there, like some close
pressure
friends,
is on, of course.
pressure's
Yeah,
on,
a lot of
family's
eyes.
coming up, everybody's looking at you, and look, don't get me wrong, it was a charity event. We raised a lot of money, and there was a lot of purpose behind the event besides, you know, testing yourself, and that was great. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to win the fight.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, but
I'd be lying.
that's a mentality thing, right?
It is surely.
No one wants to go into the ring and be beaten.
They don't, man. They don't, and that's what it came down to. So I can remember, I was the first fight after the interval, and headphones in, man, like just fucking in the zone.
Yeah,
Like,
brilliant.
it was like Rocky, man. Like,
What's your go-to your music to get you in the vibe? Have you something in particular, or does it change?
thinking back now, at the time I was listening to a bit of grime.
Yeah.
Bugsy Malone.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I listened to Bugsy Malone, and then my walkout song was The Matrix, Club to Death. It's the name of the song, and yeah, man, the name got called. Hood up.
Out you
straight
go.
in the ring, and man, that was just the scariest thing. It was so far outside my comfort zone. Like I wouldn't, especially back then, I wouldn't be I wouldn't naturally put myself out there a lot. So like for me to go up and, you know, fight in front of a few hundred people, in front of family and friends, that to me was like
Everything on the line.
everything on the line, man. Everything on the fucking line. And I was just so focused. And I just, yeah, man, like I felt like I'd done the training and just going back to what you can control. At that point, man, there was nothing more I could have done to prep.
You'd earned the right to be there.
The training was done. The training was done, and I just said, right, I'm just gonna have to.
The mental battle ensued.
The mental battle ensued, man, and that's pretty much how the fight went down. So,
Pretty much, I suppose, the hardest part of it, particularly when you're going into a ring and there's somebody coming up against you. There is no escape. There's no hiding.
There's not, man.
It's just you and him.
It's just me and him. It's old fashioned, and it's just such a humbling sport. Like, I can remember my coach was saying to me, my coach / mate, and he was like, he looked me in the eyes. He was like, "Right, Jack," because he was from a boxing background as well. He goes, "Right, Jack, all you have to do is win the first round." There's only 3 rounds now, so it was white collar. So like, his whole mentality was, if you win the first round, you'll win the fight. I was like, right, sounds doable. Do you know what I mean? You're not going to fight in 3 rounds.
You're going out bit by bit.
Round by round. So it's like, perfect, right? I've got a bit of a game plan. So I just went out the first round, threw it down the drain, man. Like, your man rushed me, and he just like, the whole anxiety and pressure of like, I'm pretty sure I had like a mini panic attack in there, like, to be honest. So yeah, first round was down the drain. It put me in a very, very fight or flight mode, like, to be honest, like, very dark place, to be honest. That, you know, what's going on? Like, just 8 weeks of like 5 a.m. runs, like training, like, you know, my life depended on this night, and it's
not going as planned. Yeah, but such is sport, I guess.
For sure.
In every avenue.
For sure. So, second round again. I was like, right, first round's done. I can't change that. What can I change now? And I always ask myself that question, like, what can I do right now to give myself a chance? Do you know what I mean? And basically, I realised through the help of my coach again that my opponent was southpaw and I was orthodox. So, excuse me. So basically, for me to land any right hand shots on him, I needed to step on the outside of his foot to connect, because my jabs weren't doing much. Like,
he was moving the opposite way.
With my stance, there wasn't really much happening. So the whole time my coach was on the side, he's like, release the right hand. And man, I don't know what, I've never thrown a punch like it in my life, but I threw this right hand and I knocked him down.
And that was it.
And it wasn't it, in fairness. He got back up and we finished that round off. But it basically ended up being that he'd won the first round, I'd won the second round, and it was an all-out third round brawl.
Brilliant.
So it's like a movie, man. So they're right, fucking back in it now. Like. It was a dogfight, like. And went into the third round then. We both left everything on, man. Like, it was anybody's fight. So they called the final whistle. I didn't know who. I honestly thought he had pulled it, to be honest, because he had a very good technique, and I just felt he was landing more shots. He was more calm, more composed, maybe. But yeah, to my surprise, man, the hard work paid
you got
off,
the win.
and I clinched the win.
Brilliant.
So that was like just a whole new like door in my mind that just completely just opened in terms of, fuck, man, like, there's another hard thing that I've
mental toughness, and particularly like that, to have gone out and by the end of the first round gone, fuck, I'm kind of out of the game here, what's going on, to fight your way back and actually end up on top shows strength of character. But I suppose it prepped you for more things to come. You did Dun Laoghaire IronMan also. More recent? Is that more recently?
Yeah, so that was the next step. So the lads that I was living with at the time went on to sign up the following year. So the end of it was the very last semester of the last year of college. So like, I had a lot on my plate, to be honest, and the lads were then going and doing a full Ironman. So I was like,
just when you needed nothing else on your plate.
Just when I needed nothing else. And not just any Ironman, it's IronMan Lanzarote, which, for people who are not familiar with the Ironman scene, IronMan Lanzarote is the world's toughest Ironman.
Maybe just define Ironman, because a lot of people may have heard the word but will not know, the background of the Ironman events.
Yeah, for sure. So a full Ironman is an Ironman 140.6. That's 140.6 miles. I'm used to working in kilometers now, so it's 180 kilometer bike, a full marathon, and then in terms of the swim, it's I think it's a 3.7 kilometer swim, and you do the swim first. So
you don't drown doing it at the end.
So you don't drown, pretty much. Now, I'll get into IronMan Dun Laoghaire. The one I did was a half Ironman. But these lads pretty much went from doing, bar the lad who got me into them, he done a few marathons and stuff. But the group of lads that I was living with had only done their first triathlon with me in October. So for them to go on and do a full Ironman and say, right, you coming? I was like, nah, lads, that's bizarre. Do you know what I mean? That's
too much.
Too much. It's too much too soon. Just given the whole final year of college, kind of carry on. So I left them to it, but it planted the seed. And actually January of 2019, I wanted to get my shit together. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to sign up to IronMan Dun Laoghaire. So this was a half Ironman. That scared me. To be honest, like the full one still scares me, but the half one at the time, especially last January, I was like, I think that's going to be enough for me.
Yeah, God, man, half one would. I'm scared just thinking about it.
For sure, man. It's and that was an incredible experience. Like the whole Ironman community. I've just met, I suppose, a different type of person that would do the Ironmans to the triathlons. Like looking back now, you could do a triathlon casually, but you couldn't get away with even doing a half Ironman casually.
You gotta be all in.
You gotta be all in, man. You gotta be on the ball, because the thing about the IronMan Dun Laoghaire, the thing about any Ironman is it's not the distance. It's the distance mixed in with Mother Nature, mixed in with aggressive cut-off times.
Right, so you get you're out if you don't make the time.
Pretty much, man. So you've got a certain amount of time to finish the swim, a certain amount of time to finish the bike, and a certain amount of time to finish the run. And I was racing this thing, and I think I did it in 8 hours and 9 minutes, pretty much non-stop. And man, that, like, I summarise that experience as just like a pure roller coaster. Like, I've never experienced such highs and such lows. Like, there was times on the mountain on the bike where the climbs were so steep. It was up in the Wicklow Mountains. The climbs were so steep that people were getting off their bikes and walking up. But I actually made a promise to myself, and the bike I have isn't the best either. No. So I was kind of taking a gamble saying it, but I was like, you know what? Because I didn't have bike shoes or anything. I was very easy on the equipment side.
New to the scene.
New to the scene.
Just me and me bike.
Just me and me bike. But I said to myself, there's not a chance I'm walking up any of these climbs. Like, and I didn't, in fairness, and that was something I was super proud of myself for.
Absolutely, man.
Because I didn't want it to be easy. Do you know, like, I don't.
No, you didn't want the cop. Although I know even if you complete it, you can't say it's a cop out, but you can say you absolutely didn't cop out at any stage.
For sure, man. It goes down to like how you complete these things.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because like, completing is one thing, but actually the way you go about it, and it goes back to how you train for them, is, man, like all I did for those 6 months, that was probably eight or 9 months prep, was work and train.
All in.
To be honest, and even still I was pushed. Like, even still I was probably a bit cocky going into it, to be honest, just because the cut-off times were so aggressive, man. Like, it caught me off guard. I thought, right, I've done the work, I'm just going to go enjoy it.
It's not that enjoyable. They don't give you that much time to enjoy it.
Well, there was moments, like there was highlights where I was climbing Guinness Lake, climbing the view from Guinness Lake, and like obviously finishing and seeing my family and stuff. But like the last lap, man, I've never experienced so much emotional drainage.
Mixed emotion, I'm sure, the whole way through.
Mixed emotion, like your head's playing with you the whole time, and like there was a point where I just had nothing left in the tank, like nothing, like absolutely nothing left. But there was just something in me that just didn't want to give up, and I just battled on through and just kept plugging away.
Oh, man, I'm so glad you brought that up, because the next thing that I was going to ask you was on mental toughness, like, and specifically mental toughness through endurance sports, because I know obviously a lot of people go to the gym and they train, and it might make them slightly tougher mentally, and they definitely improve their confidence if it's weight training and that, but the mental toughness in endurance sports is just a different ball game altogether. And like, I can't say that I've done any insanely I mean, the furthest I've ever ran was 17 kilometers for a tough mudder, you know, and it's no aggressive cut-off times. Land back when you're ready, take your time. Kind of a day out more so than a challenge.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine the mental toughness required, but I suppose not only required but also built through doing those events and strengthened.
For sure, man. Yeah, one piece of advice a coach gave me for MDS is do something every day that builds confidence. And there's two ways that I'm training for this event. I'm training my body and I'm training my mind. So maybe to start with how I'm training my mind, because that's, to be honest, my mind is going to carry me through. Excuse me.
No. You're good, man.
My mind is going to carry me through this race more so than my body. I'm going to get my body as prepared as possible, and obviously you have to do the physical training, but the mind takes over. I'm planning when the body breaks down, which,
it's inevitable.
It's inevitable, to be honest, that the mind's just going to take over. So there's a few different things that I've kind of implemented in on a daily basis now, to build that confidence every day and to build that self-belief. And a lot of it's actually built into my morning routine. I'm big on morning routine now. And yeah, anybody who's familiar with, building mental toughness and really training your mind, some of these things will be familiar, some of these things might be new, but it starts with getting up early. So 5 a.m.
Win the day.
Win the morning, win the day, man. That's how I've been
Brilliant.
running it. So yeah, started getting up at 5 a.m. and there's a few practical ways that I guess I've really honed in on that skill. The first way to kickstart it is just get up early. People say, try 10 minutes early, then, kind of build up. Man, I'm just all in.
All in,
Let's just get it done.
Yeah.
So what you do is you get up at 5 a.m. or whatever it could be 7, whatever your time is that you want to get up, it's going to be earlier. You go to bed that night, whatever your usual time is, and you just get up early. And preferably you do it on a Sunday. So you have preferably you do it on a Saturday, just to kind of get used to it, so you're not starting a work week.
Yeah, you have a day or two to kind of build into the routine, and I suppose catch up on, if you do lose a little bit of sleep the first couple of nights building the routine, you have time to catch up, so it's not affecting your work.
Exactly. So that's what I say. I'd say just get up early, because that first evening back, or that first evening from waking up early, you'll naturally want to go to bed earlier, and that's what it really is. It's reverse engineering. How many hours sleep do you want? Setting a reverse alarm is what I do. So I want to be in bed by 8:30, which sounds ridiculous, because I want to be asleep by 9 and get those 8 hours sleep. So I actually have a reverse alarm go off on my phone at 7:30 to say start winding down.
Yeah.
So turn off your tech, have a cup of tea, journal,
Your nighttime routine.
Nighttime routine, man. Start winding down, have a hot shower. Basically just start getting ready to sleep.
Yeah.
Has been a big thing for me. So come 8:30, I'm in the bed, I'm winding down, and I'm clocking those 8 hours. So when I get up at 5 a.m,
you're still well slept.
I'm well slept, man. That's the biggest pitfall I see. I see people, going to bed at the same time and then saying, I can't sustain this early morning thing.
Of course you can't. You're only getting 5 hours sleep, 6 hours sleep.
That's it. So that's where it starts, is getting up early, because I don't really enjoy it. I've learned to love it, like a lot of things that have been difficult in my life, and that's where it starts. So pretty much I'm up at 5 a.m. I've got an hour then where I'll meditate, which is the next thing that I'm doing on a daily basis to really build that mental strength. And it's kind of a bit of a hypocritical one, because when you think of mental strength, you don't think of sitting in peace, do you?
It almost sounds counterintuitive.
For sure, man. That's the exact word for it. But a good analogy I like to think of meditation, because it's kind of been, more recently it's been accepted, but it's kind of been tarnished by an overwhelm of spirituality and all that stuff.
Yeah, which is more so. Yeah, it's not for everyone, absolutely, and it's not really what I mean, it's not really what you're looking for when you're meditating. It's certainly not what I'm looking for when I meditate.
Exactly. So a good analogy is, I think of meditation like going to the gym for my mind. So, like I go to the gym and train my body, which I'll get into. First thing in the morning, I'm meditating to train my mind. And the meditation I do is transcendental meditation. I just type in binaural beats on YouTube, plug in for 10 minutes, just focus on the breath and focus on like basically reset, wiping the slate clean. That's pretty much what I do. Just like a laptop. Like when a laptop has loads of tabs open, you know, best way to get it
get rid of the clutter.
Restart, man. Hit the reset button. Meditation, you're going to the gym for your mind. You're closing down all them tabs, all them problems you have open from the day before, from
distractions,
all the stress. You're rebooting. So you're starting the day with a clean, fresh slate. And yeah, man, I'll spend about an hour then just kind of moving from there to visualization. So I'm big on.
I know you're big on. I was just gonna say.
I'm big on it now, man. And I wasn't always, but I just think I'm a very visual person in general. And what I do is I go onto Canva.com and I'll actually map like my big goals for the year and create like a collage, print them off, stick them on the wall. So as soon as I get up in the morning, after I meditate, I'll actually look at those visions. So to give you an example, one of the visions that I have for MDS is obviously, you know, finishing it and getting a medal and actually completing it. So I've actually got the MDS medal.
Hanging, brilliant. I love it, man.
I'm looking at it, I'm feeling the emotions of, you know, what it would feel like to experience that and to experience the race and all these different things. And yeah, man, like by 6 a.m. I'm pretty much ready to rock and roll. And
yeah, I mean, and it's you have your hour put down with zero distractions, because I can't imagine there is no real distractions at 5 a.m. You know, you know when you're in the middle of the day trying to do something like that, it's much harder, and you've already encountered some of life's problems that are floating around in your head that you can't just. I love that you wipe the slate clean first thing, and the first thing that enters your mind is the MDS medal or the feeling of finishing it. Brilliant, savage.
Absolutely. So from there then, you know, I'm ready to rock. I know why I'm up. I actually read a bit. So there's 2 books I'm reading at the moment. I'll read about 10 minutes of each. So it's all within this, I call it the power hour. So
brilliant.
Meditation, visualization, go up early, and then I'll read 20 minutes. And I'm reading 2 books. I'm reading the Master Key System, which I've got you on.
Yeah. Second chapter.
Second chapter. And that to me, like, there's 2 books that I would pretty much be happy to read for the rest of my life and not need anything else. One of them is the Master Key System, and the other one is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. The Master Key System, for anyone who doesn't know, is basically the book that came before The Secret. It was written in 1871 by a businessman called Charles Hannell, and it's just like, to me, it's like the Pandora box. Like,
it's enlightening.
It's like the world's best kept secret. Like, I know The Secret isn't exactly a secret anymore, but this book is, because not that many people know about it. And I actually heard about this book off a successful businessman in Bali in Indonesia. He's got like his own meditation business, and he's just living life on his own terms, like. And it's not as well known as the Secret, and it's not as well marketed, but it's a game changer.
It's a gem.
It's a gem, man. So I read that for a few minutes a day, and then Man's Search for Meaning, and that has me ready to go.
Yeah, man. Well, like, what's incredible, I think, about the Master Key System is the fact that here we are 130, 40, 50 even, 150 years later, and it's all relevant. Like, sure, it's the principles have stood the test of time, and I would be very surprised if they do not continue to stand the test of time.
For sure.
Just for like personal development, and I've only just started it. I haven't even I've only touched the tip of the iceberg with it,
Yeah.
but already, and like I mentioned to you, I'm reading it not as you would a novel from front to back, but I'm more so studying it
It's a
kind of.
manual.
It's a manual, yeah, it's a manual for life, absolutely. So like that, a chapter a week, and really learn it, and just to try and get the most value out of it that I possibly can.
For sure, and like that's the same as Man Search for me. I only picked it up there just before Christmas, and geez, I've read a lot of books, but like there's only one that's given me a slap like the Man Search for me. Like I understand history, and I had a brief understanding of the Holocaust and what went on, but the way Viktor Frankl has written his account of what went on in the concentration camps, man, like
It put life's problems in real perspective.
it made me realise what's a problem and what's not a problem.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when I'm going into my day and something pops up and doesn't go the way I want it to go, it doesn't have the same sting as it used to.
Yeah.
From reading that book.
Because we are so easily wound up over things that really, they're things that a week later we don't even remember.
The first world problems.
Yeah.
Half the time, man.
Yeah. And like they don't even probably deserve to be called problems.
Inconveniences.
But it's because we have so many solutions now to everything, and there's a solution for everything, that when things don't go exactly as planned, it's a problem, quote unquote problem.
Yeah, man. Like it completely transformed. You know how blessed I feel. Like I'm always trying to practice. You know, gratitude, and like I used to write down things that I'm grateful for, and now I kind of just pop them up on a daily basis mentally. But
just be grateful.
It's incredible, man. Like it's linked a lot to the endurance training, which I'll segue into. Just this whole idea of suffering and how you can still find value in your suffering, and that's really the mindset that I bring into my actual physical training, which I'll segue onto. But those two books, like that's pretty much how my morning starts, and I'm ready to go train.
Ready to start the physical training.
So, in terms of the physical training, I've kind of been trying a few different things. So, like for IronMan Dun Laoghaire, I had a book, Iron Fit, by Don Fink, and that pretty much had a training plan, like start to finish. Now for MDS, I've only recently got a coach, so for the last few months I've kind of been training off my own intuition and like trying different things, and chatting to a few different people. The training style that I found works best for me, and everybody's different, is a lot of time on the ergs. So the ergs, for anybody who doesn't know, is all the Concept 2 machines. So like row machine, the bike, and the ski erg, which is like a ski simulator.
So you're focusing on low impact on the joints and kind of good bang for your buck with regard to cardiovascular system.
Exactly, man. So
it's a very smart way to train.
For sure, man, because what I've realised is, I've done a few long runs, and I did one, which I'll touch on later, that I got a lot out of, and like obviously helped build confidence once I healed back and recovered. But I don't really get that much out of them, to be honest. I feel they do more damage to me than good.
Yeah.
They don't really build my confidence anymore.
You're nearly left feeling more broken than motivated by the end of them.
To be honest, man, like I tried to run. Well, I did run 20k there 2 weeks ago. First run back after Christmas.
Road running or sand, or what's your go-to if you were to?
So this time it was road running, and the whole concept was like long LSD, so like long slow day. And for me, man, this style of training just wrecks me. Like by the last lap, I had such a pain in my knee that it wasn't a good pain.
Yeah, I know. You're talking to a man with a bad knee.
There you go, man.
Yeah.
You know the pain too well. So I experienced that bad pain, and I'm thinking, right, I'm 14 weeks out from this thing. And I started chatting to a few different people, namely actually Damien Brown, who's done Marathon Des Sables.
Yeah.
I actually sent him a message on Instagram, just to kind of learn how he trained for it, because he came off professional rugby with pretty much no cartilage left in his knee, and the first adventure that he did was MDS. Big problem if you've got no cartilage in your knee.
Absolutely.
Doing long slow runs.
Yeah.
So he went for this erg style of training. So this kind of got me thinking then, and that's pretty much what's working for me. So for these next few weeks, I'm gonna build in some test days, still doing a bit of run, but majority on the ergs, high volume, low impact.
Protect the joints.
Protect the joints, build the engine. That's my philosophy.
Yeah.
It's building confidence. It leaves me feeling good, and that mixed in then with strength sessions on the legs.
Absolutely, man.
And the upper body, that'll see me golden.
Yeah,
So.
brilliant. Are you a fan of any single leg work when you're training legs?
I've been doing, like, for a leg workout, I'll go in, I'll do 5x5 squats.
Strength
for
work.
Strength work.
Yeah.
Lunges.
Yeah,
Really good.
for your stability and stuff. Excellent.
For stability, and then I'll throw in burpees now at the end.
Conditioning.
For conditioning, especially for the mind side of things. And yeah, like one that I have in my toolbox now for like whenever I'm, say, on the road, or I need to do a quick workout, I'll basically whip out the plank. So I don't know if you'd be familiar, like would you use the plank much in your own training, or have you ever?
I have. I don't particularly at the moment, because I do a lot of big compound moves. So a lot of that.
Right.
If you do a lot of big compound moves, it kind of indirectly, well, not indirectly, it directly does train your core, because you're engaging it. If I was isolating, and I used to do an awful lot of planking, brilliant exercise as well.
For sure.
But I just do enough, and I do a lot of like farmers walks or farmers carries, some people call them.
Yeah.
So like that's real. It's grip strength, but it's also core strength to hold.
get you.
So not specifically planking, but I used to plank an awful lot. And it's just really really serious exercise.
It's like the plank for the Ironman especially was, I probably did, I'd say at least 3 plank sessions a week. I do this workout where I'd run for an hour, come back, do 200 press ups, and then do 3 sets of planks. And what I'm actually building up to now is a 10-minute plank.
Insane. Did you
So-
see recently a lady broke the world record? I think she held the plank for 4.5 hours.
It's a different
I
league.
could be wrong.
It's
I
a
could
different league,
I could be wrong, but
I think you're
I'm
right.
nearly sure it was north of 4 hours. If I am wrong, it was 3.5 hours. But it
It's
was an
nuts.
insane. I think she was Russian, or somewhere around that. Maybe Ukrainian,
Okay.
but incredible, man.
4
Like
hours.
how, yeah. I don't know. Maybe she watches films while she's training.
You need to, man. I have
Lord of
this-
the Rings, something nice and long.
Something nice and long to keep the mind going. But the plank, like, I started off, I'd say the most I could do was about 2 minutes. And the plank for me is just one of those exercises that it brings you into the present moment, unlike anything else. Because it just forces you to suffer within like 2 or 3 minutes.
Absolutely.
Every time. Like 2 or 3 minutes.
30 seconds for some of us.
Even
Yeah.
it depends. Like if you're new to it, it could take 30 seconds, and it's really helped me to train the mind to just keep going. Like I'll set out. The most I've done now is 8.5 minutes.
That's very very
It's
impressive.
Tough going.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
honest.
I do well to do 8.5 minutes spread over 4 sets. I'd be happy with myself if I did that.
Man.
That's incredible. Fair play to you.
So for that particular one, I've got this certain talk that I listen to, and yeah, like it's just all about the principles that I'm going to be bringing into MDS, like controlling what I can control. That's self-talk, breathing, and controlling my position. Those are the 3 things. So when I'm suffering like hell and I'm like, geez, I've only got another 30 seconds into me, or left of me, I'll just keep going. Like when I did the 8-minute one, I think I said, right, I'll get to 4 and see how I feel.
And on your mind.
Got to 4, I was like, right, I'll do 60 more seconds. Got to 5, 60 more seconds. And I just kept going. I just kept going. By the end of it, you just smash through, like, it's almost like completing like an Ironman or a triathlon
in a shorter time
in a
frame.
compressed
Yeah,
time frame.
yeah, brilliant.
Because it challenges you the same. It brings you to that dark place very, very fast. And
Where
get
your
off it.
mind is screaming at you, you're done,
Man.
but you're screaming back.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I
Exactly.
suppose it's probably one exercise that there's as much mind involved. Because if you take, for example, a squat, like if you can squat 100 kilos, you can squat it. If you can't, you can't. You can't. If you're not capable of moving it,
No.
you can't really talk yourself into doing it without risking injury.
No,
But
really.
the plank, if you reckon you can do 2 minutes and you can talk yourself into doing, like, who knows? Who knows how much you can do?
That's exactly it. Like it's all about willpower. Like the plank for me has helped me build my willpower. Self-belief is a big one. It helps me just look fear in the face, because you're in like that position where you're literally looking at the floor, the sweat's dripping off you, you're suffering, and like you can hear the devil on your shoulder saying, "Man, you've only got 5 more seconds in you.
Pack it in.
Pack it in." And then you've got this other voice, which is the voice that you want to strengthen, which is the courage voice.
The courage muscle.
The courage muscle, man. I'm just like, do you know what, man? Fuck it. I've got at least another minute in me, and it's just strengthening that muscle.
And then rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat.
Here we go, another minute.
Here we go.
Brilliant. One other thing I wanted you to touch on, I think, well, you kind of touched on it, but was the run you did on the beach.
Yeah.
You had a backpack, right?
Yeah.
So I know you had the Instagram story up, kind of talking through. It was your first time doing that run on the beach, I believe.
First time, yeah. So it was just before Christmas. I hadn't actually done any beach work because obviously MBS gonna be a lot of sand. So I went down. I had a hoodie on to simulate, being overdressed and
The heat component.
The heat a little bit, and yeah, I had a backpack on, bottle of water, banana, some nuts, and off I went. 30 kilometers.
Fuck.
So 5 hours later, it's getting very dark. That was maybe about 4.5 hours later. I just completely broke down. Like the pain was like the last lap of the Ironman. Like genuinely, there's just nothing left in the tank. At least that's what you feel like, and you're just running on nothing but pure stubbornness to get something done. And like we were at the seminar today. Sometimes one step forward is taking a rest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
You can't go full steam ahead all the time. There has to be there has to be a little bit of back off, and you're opening the door to injury and to burnout and stuff if you don't.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's all well and good. Yeah, Charlie, here we go. Pedal to the metal 100% of the time, but you do need to back off for physically and mentally, just to kind of gather yourself and go again.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. So I started suffering about 25 kilometers, 20 to 25k, and I just said, right, every kilometer now, I'm gonna stop for a minute or two, refuel, get a few nuts, get some food, do a few squats, like stretch the legs, and just gather a bit of steam back in the engine. And that's what I did. I broke it down like just step by step, man. And it was pretty much pitch black when I finished. Nobody else left on the beach. Very lonely, very dark place to be. And I still have to go cycle home now. So it was like,
oh man,
fuck
you didn't
this.
make it easy for yourself.
I didn't, man. But I hobbled to the petrol station, got a cup of tea in a bar, and I figured a lot of shit out while I was doing that race. There was a few difficult conversations that I need to have with a few people as well that actually just went in the following week and had. So that's
Made them a bit easier.
Yeah, made them a bit easier, man. That's kind of why I do these things. Is they make life easier after you finish them.
Thanks again for listening to this week's episode of the LiveUltra podcast. I do hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. I hope you learned something, and I hope you gained value from it. And if you did, I would ask just one thing and one thing only, that you share this episode with one friend. that's really how the podcast is going to grow and reach more people. So yeah, if you could do that, and if you do gain value, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks, and see you in next week's episode.